Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Earlier today, I found an article coming from Ukraine Forum, I think it was, anyway, from an Ukrainian media outlet, where the Ukrainians reported that the Russians actually were stopped in their offensives in Liman, Zaporozhye, in Bakhmut and Avdiivka. I found another article here from Ukrainska Pravda, which is again a governmental media outlet, Ukrainian one, and they have a different take on the issue. So let's see what we found here in this article actually. And we have it like this. Ukrainska Pravda: Russian forces continue offensive on Bakhmut and Avdiivka fronts. General Staff report. And we have here Ukrainska Pravda, Monday, January 23rd, 2023. Interesting. And the same picture used for these ones as it was for another article. I guess they're very effective. Russian occupiers continue offensive operations on the Bakhmut and Avdiivka fronts in order to seize Donetsk Oblast, despite numerous losses. The source was the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Information as of 1800 on 23rd of January at 6 p.m. Quote, over the course of the past 24 hours, invaders launched 4 missile attacks on the settlements, 2 of which were repelled by our air defense, and 14 airstrikes. In addition, the enemy carried out 24 strikes using multiple launcher rocket systems. Ukrainian aircraft conducted 5 airstrikes on clusters of Russian occupation forces during the past 24 hours. Moreover, our defenders shot down 2 enemy Sukhoi 25 aircraft and Ka-52 helicopter, an Orlan-10 unmanned aerial vehicle, and 2 Kh-59 guided air missiles. I have another article ready here talking about the aircraft and helicopters, so I will definitely use that. Let me work with this little thing here. So let me continue with this article. And it says here that Ukraine rocket forces and artillery units struck 3 clusters of Russian military personnel and equipment, as well as an enemy logistics warehouse. End quote. Details. At the same time, despite the numerous losses, Russian forces continue their offensive on the Bakhmut and Avdiivka fronts in order to capture the entire Donetsk Oblast. And then on the Kupiansk front, occupiers conducted unsuccessful offensive actions and Ukrainian defenders repelled all Russian attacks. On the Liman, which was another front where the Russians conducted offensive operations, Novopavlivka, Zaporozhye and Kherson fronts, Russian forces are in defensive positions now. On the Volyn, Polisia and Sivershnya fronts, there are no significant changes in the situation. No Russian offensive groups have been reported. Simultaneously, Russian forces attacked settlements on the Kupiansk, Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Novopavlivka, Zaporozhye and Kherson fronts. So we do have a Russian offensive, an ongoing Russian offensive, and according to the Ukrainians, the Russians have some losses, but in some areas like Liman, they were stopped, but in Bakhmut, they were not, in Avdiivka. After the fall of Soledar, the salt from God cities with their catacombs and with salt mines, it seems like the Russians have a free hand into encircling, better put, Bakhmut. Remember, before the Russians succeeded in doing so, or at least approaching Bakhmut and Soledar, the Ukrainians and the Americans and the Brits were claiming that actually Soledar and Bakhmut are unimportant points, and they really did not understand why the Russians put so much pressure on those locations, those objectives. Now we found out what happened at Soledar, where they found that there were a lot of catacombs, according to the Russians, in the salt mines over there. According to the Russians, those salt mines had about 100 miles of catacombs where you can store equipment and even tanks. No, I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, let's move on to the next article that I have here. And the next article is actually a continuation of the first article, and they tell us about some achievements. So here we are with the achievements coming from the second article, coming from Ukraine Forum, and we have here some beautiful air defense systems, and it says that its air defense forces shut down 2 Russian Sukhoi 25S Ka and Ka-52 helicopter in eastern Ukraine. This is as of 23rd of January 2022 at 18:16. So that is at 6:16 p.m. Ukraine time. So Ukrainian Air Forces destroyed 2 enemy Sukhoi 25 aircraft and a Ka-52-23 helicopter in the east of Ukraine. Then we spoke about this one, and it says that they also destroyed an Orlan 10 UAV. So what I got from this is actually contradicting what the Ukrainians reported earlier this morning, saying that earlier, it was not this morning, but it was because the articles that I used were about at noon or so, where they said that the Russians did not advance and they were blocked. It's okay now, as the Ukrainians will receive tanks from the Americans. I had another article that I found talking about the Americans almost saying yes to send Abram 1 tanks. Abram 1 tanks are the obviously American tanks, and they will join the Leopard 2 tanks, the German tanks that are already on their way, supposedly. And then they will have Leclerc, the French tank, and Challenger 2, the British tanks. The problem is, I don't know how long the Ukrainians will have time to train on those tanks. I think the principle is the same, but I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of computerized training needed over there, and you can't just jump on a different system without training, because those tanks are expensive and they're a piece of art. So you can't just go over there and all right, let me judge which is the stick 1, 2, 3, 4. That's okay. They were good. It's not like that. I mean, for one person it's like that, but still, it's a lot of knowledge to gain in a short time. On top of that, the Germans are sending Patriot systems to Poland, and supposedly the Patriot systems will arrive in Ukraine from the United States of America. Supposedly, we have 100 Ukrainian military personnel training in Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma, here in the United States of America, to learn how to operate the Patriot batteries, the systems. Supposedly you need about 80 people to operate one battery, and you need about 6 months of training. So I don't know, if these guys just arrived a week ago, calculate 6 months, and I don't know, by June or so, July, you're gonna have those guys kind of ready. But I'm pretty sure those batteries will be put in place in Ukraine and in Poland, obviously, much earlier. In Poland will be put earlier because they were placed over there, because they will be probably operated by German staff. But in Ukraine, I don't know, some contractors in the meantime. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. All right, well, so the Russians are advancing and are gaining, territory. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.